Good morning, and thank you for tuning in to my favorite show, which is yours as well, Jasiri. And in the spirit of Nigerians trying to take over all the pages of Guinness Book of World Records, the world's largest canvas painting, a portrait of President Bola Tinubu, was unveiled during the Democracy Day celebrations yesterday. Let's take a look. So that, oh, so that really?
Okay, so all I see are the eyes. Exactly. Thing I saw. Because it's the first thing that
It looks like a caricature.
I'm saying what struck
No, but
me
is it a
as
caricature?
No, now. No, so apparently the...
Hey, no, but this is not...
It's
Okay.
a paint appreciate the work of
So the portrait
No,
project was
there are many
initiated.
artworks that are not nice.
All right, so it was initiated by the Artifact Gallery, Best Theatre Company, and the National... What is that? And the National something.
The National Council for Arts and Culture. So I think one thing about this is yesterday when people were reacting to it, it was like, okay, he's doing this again on Democracy Day. But apparently it was not necessarily coming from the presidency. It was a project initiated by a group of three companies or things like that. But my question is, was nobody in the room when it was decided that this would be unveiled here? Yes, it's BT Records. It's the world's largest painted portrait or painting portrait, something like that. But was yesterday about him?
Well, maybe they wanted to just merge everything.
Merge what?
Merge what?
Democracy.
And they had to merge a portrait that was
use
not...
So I don't think...
Maybe they need to zoom because I do not see...
Where do you zoom here? If you zoom here, it's done.
So yes, the
over.
portrait was about him, but I think that it wasn't exactly about him. Like, Nigerians are naturally, I don't know if I should say the patriotic, or they're very active when it comes to things like that. I remember when Lagos broke the world record for the most cupcakes. That was during Nigeria's 60th independence. Lagos actually made 60,000 cupcakes, and it's still in the world record till date. So I think that, they just want to celebrate these things and make a mark and,
sometimes you feel as if it's about celebrating a person.
Yeah.
Because Democracy Day was already heavy on the people, on the nation itself. So, and they've already, everything is supposed to be on a low key. Even the person whose foundation, this June 12 mandate, he never got the mandate. So even in history, that has marred something. So it's a day that we should have sober reflections. To some people now, they think the president is just trying to, force himself through our throats.
Yeah.
Even if they wanted to unveil this thing, they could have chosen another day aside Democracy Day because what is the significance of these portraits for the day?
So let me add some context. So they said that this portrait was created by 37 painters representing Nigeria's 36 states and the FCT as a message of hope and unity.
Why did they draw
Are we
Nigeria?
on hope again?
No, why did they draw Nigeria? Why didn't they draw the flag?
Why did they draw our heroes past?
Yeah.
Center MKO Abiola, who
And the
June
middle of
12th is
it.
meant to really commemorate,
Yeah.
and then celebrate other heroes of Nigeria's independence and democracy march. Again, my question is, when people are sitting at the table and someone says, oh, these people have done this big painting, it's going to be the largest in the world, it's of the president, should we unveil it on Democracy Day? I always wonder, is there no dissenting voice in the room? Does nobody ever say, guys, this is not the time, this is not the place, it should not be of the president?
But Tolu, don't you know that, have you never been called to an, have you ever been invited to an award and they ask you to pay something? Food for thought.
Well, it is a tribute to President Tinubu, and it's inspired by portraits of former U.S. President Barack Obama and, of course, Queen Elizabeth, now late. So doesn't that at least stand for something?
No.
What?
No. You can have a presidential portrait. I know he has a
course.
presidential
In his
portrait.
house.
In Aso Rock, it'll be
But now,
somewhere. There's a
do you
presidential
know-
portrait. This is not the presidential portrait.
When
Where is it
another
going to fit?
president
Which museum
comes,
is he entering?
when another president, this does not give unity. It does it maybe symbolizes a person, maybe for his own personal struggles or the things that he has gone through personally. But this as a representation of the nation, how? What does this represent and bring unity? Because if they were supposed to do something that would be for the people, it should represent the entirety.
I don't think
of
it even has
Nigeria.
anything to do with bringing
So how
unity.
does
this
this?
is more like ass kissing.
Well,
Consider-
no, I did. I tell you, when
were
they
they paid to do
have you
this?
ever been invited to an award and they ask you to give something?
That's the
anything
second-
your heart
second-
desires to give.
Second time.
Food for thought.
Well, you're even going far. Some people go and curate their own awards by themselves. They curate their own plaques. And yeah, they do.
I should do that.
Don't you know the 37 artists now? The 37. Shall we interview them?
Would
And
they have
that's
been
that,
paid to do
this?
this?
Well, I cannot say beyond speculation.
But in all honesty,
Speculation.
this is
Speculation. But you all know that when somebody does nice things, don't somebody, when they
you
bring
appreciate?
rice for you during Ileya, don't you give the bringer of the rice tip?
But
Food
is
for
this
thought.
not too big a
Number three.
project for tip?
My sister, when
And
you
mine
when
is
you
in-
create
see,
this,
ladies, that's
don't you know the
That's
amount
not
of pain?
digress. Let's
Yeah.
not digress. Catherine, what did you want to say?
mine is two things. Number one, where are we going to hang or mount?
It'll stay in Eagle
this-
Square.
this
You stay in Eagle Square, rain and sun will fall on it and it will all disappear.
Yeah, okay.
Because if it's a portrait, really, and it's not encased in something, it's going to wear out.
Secondly, were they
Because-
paid to do this? And doing this, what's the significance of it, even though we've all touched on it? Thirdly, is this what we need now? It's as if they...
No.
Is it not
They
supposed
just-
to be behind a
taking
glass
us
casing
on a-
so that
on
people
a
can come from
merry-go-round?
all around the
we
world
cannot yet
to
argue
behold?
with Labour what it is that is going to be the minimum wage. And it seems as if they're just putting, you know when you put pepper in people's eyes.
So this is a
like-
situation where Nigeria's politicians and at the very top are absolutely being tone deaf.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to say is
Tone deaf,
whatever
yeah.
comes your way, you were warned and you likely deserve it because you are absolutely being tone deaf to what is happening in the room. The presidency is not reading the room.
Yeah.
The room being the frustrations, the
they're
anger,
refusing
the
to read
hunger
it,
of
yeah.
Nigerians. And even if, again, I'll say it, paint a portrait of the president if you want. Was that the time? Was that the place? A day that we're talking about democratic struggles of this country, where many people, as we showed the Vox Pop, don't
Yesterday.
even believe in that the fact that democracy exists in Nigeria,
No.
and you're unveiling a portrait of the president.
No,
How tone deaf can
At
you
this point,
be?
I think that we should even stop asking, is this what we need? Because it's obvious that we have deviated from our priorities, right?
Who is the we? Am I the one running the affairs of Nigeria?
Well, Nigeria
Tani
has
we.
deviated from
The
it because
leadership.
We all know, everybody
Tani
knows.
we. And the
followership.
The president visually represented the falling state of the nation yesterday. So there's no point asking the question,
And then
what do we need?
social media went
Is this
to
what we
town.
need?
Oh,
Although there
God.
was a, you know...
He
there was an
had a
attempt.
comeback.
There was
He had a
yeah.
comeback. It was funny.
And you
though.
know, it was, you know, I think what
Damage
tripped
control
me
gone
in
wrong.
the comeback was what you said was not even funny. But they were...
No, there are all kinds of funny.
Say, yeah,
no,
yeah.
but you know British jokes.
Maybe I was
You know, British
bugaing,
jokes
or maybe I
sometimes,
was...
it might actually sound like it's not funny. You know, there are jokes that you catch after like 6 years, 2 years.
So what would have happened?
Or you're driving home and
You're
you're
driving
like,
like,
oh!
something
I've not
nice.
done that.
What
I'm
would
sorry.
have happened in the
There's some
room
people
if
that are
nobody
naturally,
laughed?
there's some people that are naturally funny.
No, what would have happened?
Be
really?
wonder. How would the president crack a joke and you will not laugh?
And they are not going to eat rice in that place.
No, like, do you
And you will
understand?
not chuckle.
Do you think
Food for thought.
Wait. Let's play it. He has said and something. Buga. Maybe it's Babarita.
No, give it
you
to.
people need
Give
to
it
laugh the way. they laugh.
No. Give it to the president to rhyme. That was rhyme.
That's not the rhyme I want. And he said that, you know,
He's
some
a
of them
proper
said I was
Yoruba
Buga,
man and he
I'm a
knows how
proper
to
Yoruba man.
dobale.
No, Yoruba
You people
boy.
are not, where's the chuckle?
Oh boy.
You know that if
He's so
Dangote-
funny.
If Dangote was in this room, I would laugh at everything.
We're not
that-
doing it
Play
well.
the video.
Let's play the video.
Early this morning, I had a swagger, and it's on the social media. They are confused whether I was doing Buga or doing Babariga. But it is a day to celebrate democracy. Why doing Dobale? for the day. I'm a traditionally Yoruba boy. I did my dobale.
Sorry, I forgot.
But he was trying to rhyme, you know, babariga, boga. You didn't see it.
Dobale.
You didn't see it.
Dobale for who?
Dobale, like
He said dobale for democracy.
Did you
Yeah.
see the laughter and the throwing back of their heads in the room?
The person is a comedian.
gobsmacked.
I did not
I feel like that
know
since his
when he
campaign.
decided that stand-up comedy was his thing. But I want to say another thing about this. I do appreciate the fact that he addressed it, because
Yeah.
typically most times they'll pretend like nothing happened.
Happened.
So one, he addressed it, but two, in the addressing,
No, but that-
change your
our
scriptwriter.
president was-
Listen,
Change your
No,
scriptwriter.
I
Nigerians have
actually
even
do
gone
not
to
think-
town for a part 2 of that.
No, I actually think
Yeah,
they don't
Brother
have
Bernardo.
script writers.
Of his fault.
I think they just talk maybe from their heads, because
No,
half of the
he
time
has speech
when-
writers, Lolo.
Not one speechwriter.
I
Not
can,
one.
which of these speeches have really resonated with you?
So
As
is it
something
in
somebody-
the words or is it in the delivery? There are two separate
Exactly.
things that come when
Even
it
the
comes to
words,
speeches.
even the words. When something is put together, sometimes you read it badly, but you can still feel the spirit of what is being written. Because sometimes as press people, we receive their press statements physically, that we can actually look at it and dissect some of the words. But some of these words are so lackluster. And sometimes you're wondering that in the spirit of democracy, with the struggle of the people, you know, monumental speeches should come out. Like the ones that we still remember of Martin Luther King. I had a dream. That
is a Nigerian
even
dream?
you will see children learning it as poetry. That I remember Democracy Day of 2024, when the president stood on that podium and he channeled the pulse of the nation, the pain, the anguish.
Even Barack had that. Okay, so now that you're on this...
There are three
before we
things
go-
on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, before we go on a break, I was going to say, so are you saying that in Nigeria, looking back, we've not had anybody in government who has delivered a speech that, we're not saying wash us, but a speech as rousing and as moving as what you've described?
I would love to see.
ML.
Maybe I didn't encounter it.
So let me
I
say
think
three
we've
things
had-
before we go on a break.
Yeah.
There are speechwriters. It's in the words, it's in the delivery, but it's also in the person.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
cannot write a speech for someone and give them words that when they deliver it, it lacks credibility. He will say it's good, he can deliver it well, but if it is not words that seem to resonate with them, people will pick up on it. If it lacks credibility, regardless of the delivery and the power of the words, it will fall flat. So there are
Whether
three
or not
elements.
it even resonates, if he stands there and gives spoken words about hope, nobody believes at this point.
Do you understand?
Before he came to power, yes, maybe he would have believed, oh, we're looking forward, because that's something we're looking forward to. But now we've seen him in all his glory. There's no spoken word that would change people's minds.
Even if you're acting in... All right, guys, let's go on a quick break. When we return, we'll be exploring why men are often silent about their struggles and how this silence can have devastating consequences. June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and we raise that awareness right after this.
Welcome back. We're streaming live on our social media platforms. We're at News Central TV. Use the hashtag Jasiri to be part of our conversations. Now, men's mental health is a critical but often overlooked aspect of overall well-being. Statistics show that men are less likely to seek help for mental health issues, leading to higher rates of suicide and untreated mental illnesses. Societal expectations, stigma, and traditional notions of masculinity often prevents men from expressing vulnerability or accessing mental health services. Today, we aim to shed light on these challenges and explore the importance of mental health for men, as well as discuss ways to support them in seeking help. We're honored to have with us a clinical psychologist and mental health advisor with extensive experience in helping individuals navigate mental health challenges, Dr. Olumide Okeowo. Welcome to Jasiri.
Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure being here.
Thank you so much for joining us. So let's get straight into the conversation. We've talked about issues surrounding men's health. Even though this is Jasiri, we know that, we're two sides of the coin, yin and yang. We need each other. We need to work together and everything. But why do you think men are less likely to seek help for mental health issues compared to women, particularly domesticating it to Nigeria and the African sort of context around strong men and vulnerability?
Okay, thank you. Well, basically, the society, race, culture, ethnicity, you know, all of that rolled into one, as, you know, made it in quotes that, oh, men are not supposed to show their emotions. They're supposed to. So all of that was wrapped into some concepts. If you research it, it's called toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
You know, talking about, and that is centered around 3 areas. Toughness. Toughness means that you're not supposed to show any vulnerability. You're supposed to keep it together. You're supposed to man up. You're supposed to chin up. You know, all of that put together. Then there's another one, anti-femininity. Anti-femininity is not talking about feminism. It's talking about you are not supposed to be in a role that is supposed to be a woman's role who will show emotions when they are in very serious situations where they're, you know, their emotions, you see them cry and all of that. So that's the anti-femininity, that you are not supposed to act like a woman would act. And then there's the third one, which is power, which talks about status. You have to provide, you have to financially be stable and all of that. So that, if you look at all of that, that is affecting men. And there are consequences for that.
Absolutely.
The consequences all of the time, most of the time, will show in mental health. The things that you are not seeing. Yeah, that's when you see the man is broken, and before you know it, someone is trying to commit suicide. So research shows that there is lower prevalence of men with mental health. Not because they're not having mental health issues, because they would not go to seek help.
Medical help.
They won't go to seek medical help.
You know, these days there's so much comparison between men and women. And typically, it seems that all of us, we experience things differently.
Yeah.
At least now I've learned how women act. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus, all sorts of things. Everybody is looking for that, you know, that divide. So what are the common mental issues that men face particularly that women don't face? Because I'm a hybrid one. So, and I keep wondering that, are they different from the ones women face? Because if you tell me financial issues, don't we all? Family issues, don't we all? So what are the ones that are particularly common to men?
Okay, so mental health issues doesn't have, is not based on whether you are a man or a woman. It doesn't know race, gender, it doesn't know your social economic status. If you break down, you break down. The most common denominator for anybody to have a mental health challenge is that you have a brain. So men and women have brains, so it's common to them. So for men, because of some of the things we've talked about, what the society places on the man, that, okay, you can't show emotions, you must, you know, do all this, cater for, pay all these bills and all of that, and then power play, you feel that, oh, okay, I don't need any support from anybody, the woman and all of that. So that puts the pressure on men. So men are the ones that then would die in silence, if you can use that word. Die in silence because they're not speaking about the challenges they're having. You know, someone was telling me, a friend of mine, a lady was talking to me about, you know, the teacher for our son. And that the man had to walk from his house to the place, to her place, to take her son. And, you know, he noticed that, you know, the man put his head down and was sleeping. After a while, the guy had to voice out that, you know, he walked here, and, you know, the most painful part of it was that he was saying that his children were asking him, what are we going to eat today? You know, so I'm sure he didn't speak to any other man or anything. So those are the kind of pressures that we're talking about. And it can lead to somebody going to commit suicide because he feels that, oh, okay, I'm all alone by myself. Nobody's caring for me. Nobody's looking after, you know, so, and then the society has said that I can't talk to anybody.
That's the problem.
You know, I can't express myself. Culture says that you are the man. You are not supposed to cry. Men should cry.
That I have a problem with that societal, what they call societal expectations. is that the burden in itself? Is that the crux of the matter? There may be so many things to garnish it with, but the brunt or the crux of the matter is the societal expectations from men. Even women, to an extent, we are seen to say, okay, we are not empathetic enough. We are always expecting, hey, you are a man now, you should be able to do this. And so if we're looking at societal expectations, cultural backgrounds on gender roles, now, can you explain how that works with a man? We are women. I tell people most times, say, women, we see things very differently. Yeah. Lolo had said it. I'm like, and then men struggle to explain it to us because in their minds already, they think we don't understand it. And that comes back to societal expectations. So now, can you explain to us the impact of societal expectations and the traditional gender roles of men's, as it affects men's mental health?
Okay.
MMH.
So I'll give you a peep into, I was at a meeting, so in my church we're planning for Father's Day, which is on Sunday. And then, so in the meeting, men were saying, oh, okay, our women need to celebrate us. In fact, they must buy gift too. They must buy gift and present it, just to make us feel, and all of that. So everybody was saying that. And then somebody said that, that even telling your wife to buy you a gift, she's still going to ask you for the money. She's going to ask you for the money that, oh, okay, oh yeah, bring the money and I'll buy the gift and, present it to you. So that is coming from a societal point of view, that the man is responsible to take care of all the needs, whether finance, social, emotional. You are supposed to take care of all of that for your family. And then it goes to the workplace, all of that, the role that you feel that, oh, okay, this role is specific for men, is not for a woman to do, and all of that. So those are societal expectations that are already there, that men face. And then so that naturally behoves that, when you already, oh, okay, that's what I'm supposed to do. So if a woman is coming to you, he already feels, it is ingrained in him that that is what you're supposed to do. So when he's failing at it, he might not be able to talk. And then that comes in, for some men, it comes in their aggression. When they come...
How it manifests.
Yes, it comes in form of aggression. Maybe at work you had a bad day, and then you come home. This is your territory. Yeah. So that's why it's easier to aggress in terms of maybe verbal aggression or something like that. But that doesn't mean it is right. At times some of those things are also the fact that some of the men grew up in homes where just still that masculine, setup that their father is, oh, okay, I'm the law here. Anything I say is law. Nobody can contest it. And that's what he has seen growing up. Yeah. So it comes with that. That's what he knows. He doesn't know any other thing. So when he becomes a father too, he says, I'm law here. And, everything that you want to say is what I say that is final. So some of those things also are coming from how they've grown up, the childhood experiences they've had, the kind of homes they came from. All of those things come together, crystallizes into what you see when you see the man reacting and all of that. And then the impact on their mental health is maybe the aggression you see when some of those things are pressured them to the point that they can't take it anymore. Then you see lashing out and all of that. But if you have been able to maybe speak to someone or even share, have a moment to even unburden yourself, it's going to help you to at least be able to feel better. That's why they say women, anything, they cry about it, they do everything about it and all of that. Before you know it, the next minute they are on something else. They're doing something else and they go on.
But what's your, please quickly, what's your take on men? Are you married, sir?
Yes, I am.
Would you Is it easy for you to cry and be vulnerable with your wife?
Why is that question coming up?
No, because based on what you know, that's why I said to Blessings quickly. Let me ask you, because you said, you know, women, we cry, we get emotional, we move on to the next thing.
Yes.
Is it like, so if a man, at least if you have a partner, shouldn't it be as easy as that also?
Can I tack on to that? It's not just partners. Women have social structures that men, not all men don't have. They have friends. They are boss, guy or guy. But who are the people they sit down to talk to when issues come up? Women, I can call my sister. I can call any of them. I can call friends. I have a social network. I have a social support system. A lot of men don't do that or don't have that. So when you talk about the wife or a partner, what about that social support system that's not just your partner?
Okay, so I'll come from where you started from in terms of crying.
Yeah.
For me, maybe because I'm in this field and then all of that, it's not as difficult for me to be emotional when I'm with my spouse, when I'm with my wife. It's not, and then, you know, societal, you know, expectation also. So if my wife sees me, like, I hope the whole world is not coming down. You know?
Yeah. No, I don't like rice. Why did you give me rice and meat instead of fish? I don't like food.
No. So that's not the kind of cry. You know? So maybe you're really pressed in terms of what you're going through and like, you know what, this is what is going on. And for me, I've been able to do that, to say, you know what, this is where we are. So when I was changing my profession, I'd done HR for a couple of years, and I was coming back to this clinical side of things. And then I sat my wife down and I said, you know what? I'm about to take a big step. It's a big step because I know what it entails. I know, you know, in terms of financial stability of what I had before and where I'm going to. And I said, you know, this is the big step, but I'm going to take it. And then, so that also means that at times we are going to spend your money, you know. And so just put all the vulnerability out there to say that I'm vulnerable, you know, and this is the time I need your help. So it's very difficult for men to accept their vulnerability, which is the problem. So we can come together as guys and say, oh, you know, go out with your guys and all of that. But how many of those outings really go to the wire that people really talk about the issues that they're having? Oh, I'm pressed on this side. Oh, you know, work is not going great. Finances,
home is not going great.
Oh, home is not going great, and all of that. So all of those conversations, you just talk about, you know, the overfloating ones, you know, how
Arsenal versus Man U.
You know, talk about football, talk
those
about,
ones
but the pressure that you're feeling is still, you know, is still there. They're not talking about it. So you're supposed to man up. You're supposed to keep it together. But that is breaking a lot of men.
So beyond the societal expectation, there's also that societal structure that makes this men into that, right? You did mention that mental health does not know it doesn't know race, it doesn't know region and all that. But we would agree that in the Western part, it's mostly similar, but you see that Westerners are more vocal with their thoughts, they're more expressive with their feelings. But regardless of that, WHO still says that male suicide rate in all regions is higher than every other one by, I think, 18% and all that. So my question is, for a man to become someone such that he would have to give a disclaimer, even when he's agreeing to be vulnerable to, let's say, someone closest to him, his wife. He would give a disclaimer, oh, this is me being vulnerable. How did we get to that point where even those who are willing to be vulnerable have to, like, make it in such a way that you do not rub it in their faces? Is it that boils back down to the societal structure, and how do we break that structure and make them know that they can actually be vulnerable?
Without the disclaimer.
Okay. So, I mean, there's a lot around still society, culture, race, you know, and all of that, that those structures have been ingrained. Is that, oh, okay, you are the guy, you know, you must be able to do all of this. And then you see in recent times, like you talk about the Western climb, you know, you find out that, oh, you bring your money, I bring my money, you know, we're able to, that is already becoming something that people are embracing. But, you know, so maybe the African, it's coming on here, but it's not as, you know, readily available like you'll find every other place in the West.
Yeah.
But so these things are coming up, and then, you know, the women are also trying to say that, oh, well, I can put in money on the table, and then you also, but don't take advantage of it. Don't take advantage of it.
So that's emotional intelligence.
It is. So my home is that, because Blessings talked about societal structure, and the same societal structure, this whole patriarchy that puts men at the top, is the same one that unfortunately a lot of women have also internalized. So you talk about being vulnerable with your wife. I know there are men out there who are watching and say, if I tell my wife now that maybe I don't have enough money for the house rent, the response that she'll give me. So even as women, we need to also be reflective of our role of not giving many men space. So many stories on social media. A lot of men say that they when they point to issues of finance, if a man is not providing financially, then a man is not loved. That a man is not loved, and that he's not going to be appreciated, that it's only about what men bring to the table financially. And so that's part of the patriarchy, and that's part of the structure. So I want you to talk to women, because we have to help. And I'm not going to say it in terms of we're the ones raising the boys. Let's leave that raising conversation. In terms of being the partners of men who may need to be able to express themselves, the responses to all of this as well. Because if you say, I can't bring the rent, there's some women who will be like, I don't understand. Sorry? You said what? You know?
Okay, so so speaking to the women, really, it's that you have to make your man feel comfortable enough to become vulnerable around you. Yes, you know, is that, oh, that's your partner, that's your wife, that's your husband, and then I was listening to some of your conversations before I joined in, talking about reading the room.
Yeah.
You know, your husband or your partner can also read the room and say that my wife is not even in the mood for any of this kind of conversation, so let me not even start. Okay? So if I start, I might get, you know, it might get something different, you know, and all of that, and complicates the way I'm already feeling, that I'm not able to even pay the rent, I'm not able to, you know, come up with the school fees at when it is due, you know, so all of that. So women need to be, you know, create an environment that would allow their men or spouse to talk, to feel free to be able to express.
Sometimes when I think of men, I think that a lot of things in the society have changed over the years. That the same rules that obtained in our mother's time do not obtain in these times. And now there are many, I see a lot of churches do programs, I see mosques do programs. Now we're beginning to even see us in Nigeria talking about therapies, going for therapy session, going for counseling. Those were things that were alien to us at the time. And I found out that most of these spaces that men are supposed to get access to some kind of maybe mental health services, a lot of them still just receive teaching. I see men's program, how to be vulnerable in these times. And a preacher just preaches at them. There's no real access to the help that they need. So these barriers that are still obviously there, how do men surmount it? Is it not that they are going to just remove their baba and say, I beg go, things are hard, for to kill me, but I cannot do this. What these barriers, how do they jump through it visibly so that they can know that, on Jasiri we heard it that he thinks push comes to shove. Remove your cap and say, I need help. But a lot of people still shroud it and, you know, there are places. What do they need to do to break this barrier? Madam, I'm having problem.
You can't kill me.
Let's now know what our reaction is. But they must, we keep talking about these avenues being there. But how do they break the barriers to get it?
So majorly it's just to open up, talk about these things. Oh, okay, just like you said, I mean, the way I am now, you know, if you give me the opportunity, I feel like I am down below. So I need help. I need to, just talk to someone. So men need to begin to open up. They need to begin to access some of these services that are available in terms of booking a therapy, talking to someone that you are close to, that you can be vulnerable. It might not necessarily even be your wife. It might be another man. It might be, someone that you look up to, like a mentor, to say that things are not going the way.
Hey, but sorry, you guys are always saying hanging out with the boys. What do you do then? Because when we hang out, like our makeup room is our therapy session. So when you guys you make this hanging out with the boys thing like it's shrouded in. I've seen
swag.
men like wow, they go for football games, they go for watching football and more football and a lot of football. So what do you guys really do there? Because those are unconventional spaces.
Yeah, so that's what I said earlier, that talking is important. You must be able to talk about the real problems, not football, not, talk about politics and all of that. Meanwhile, you are, drowning underneath you. And, the thing is that if you talk, someone is able to pick it up and say that, you know what? Can we talk about this? Can we have this conversation? Can I, offer this help? So it's just that coming out and leaving that feeling like, oh, okay, the society says I must be this. There's a time to become vulnerable. There's a time to talk about the issues that you're having. Otherwise, it will boomerang. It will bounce back in some other things in terms of, and particularly going the way of mental health. It will come back in that kind of space. And then that's when you just hear, but I still spoke with this guy yesterday. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you are hearing sad news that, this guy just committed suicide or something has happened. And you are thinking, but we were together yesterday. We watched football together. We so.
But you didn't talk.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to.
Very sorry, because we'll be wrapping up very soon. But this suicide part you brought in, men are more likely to be successful at committing suicide. And they're likely to try more than women. And when we look at those numbers, you think about how their issues may have manifested before. We've talked about it, but we've only mentioned aggression. There are some other signs that men might be going through mental health struggles, and I think it would be good for the audience to be able to look at, of course, it's not going to be the same for everybody, and these signs are not necessarily indicative purely of mental health, but certain things we can look at. Somebody who's never been aggressive before starts being short-tempered, quite aggressive, and that could just be pressure. So what can we look for?
Okay, so mental health challenges basically would, there are three major areas that speaks to that exclusively, if you may. Thinking, that's your cognitive abilities. If there is a distortion or the way your feelings and your behaviors, those three areas, if they are significantly affected over a period of time, so it's not that that's burst of maybe the guy is stressed up and then, but over a time that recently this person has just any little thing flares up, and then maybe you notice that this guy is becoming incoherent. Sometimes you might say, oh, he's not listening, but it's not that he's not listening. He's not able to coordinate some of the things that you're throwing at him in his thoughts. He's not able to coordinate it. So over a period of, you begin to see it. And then the one that you generally will see is in the behavior. That's aggression, that, just behaving out of place. Like you just be wondering,
picking up vices.
Where did this, risky behaviors and all of that, then you see that something is wrong here. And then when some of those things, you are able to identify them, you are supposed to, okay, I've noticed this and this. So don't you think you need to maybe talk to someone or, access care?
Would you say that is what used to, like in the olden days when men would become alcoholics, would you say that was more prevalent or their own expression of maybe depression or having mental health? Because in those times, you just see men fall into alcoholism and they will begin to drink excessively and keep late nights. Can that be one of the telltale signs?
Yeah, so that's like a maladaptive way of coping. So the man, as maybe all the pressures and all of that, is looking for ways to drown it. You know, okay, so beer parlor talk will say that, oh, okay, let's drink and forget your sorrows. The sorrows are going to be there when the alcohol clears out. The sorrows will still be there. Yeah. So at that moment, it's like coping, but that's a maladaptive way of coping. To, you know, drink it out, and then these days you have a lot of substance abuse. People are using all sorts of things, you know, to try and take away the pain of what they're going through. But that's not going to, you know, that's only going to lead to addiction. It's going to lead to, and that can even bring about some mental health challenges, as in someone can even have mental illness from some of those vices that they get into and all of that. So that's just a way of maladaptive way of, you know, trying to cope with it. So instead of following the adaptive way, so adaptive way will talk about problem-focused coping, and then emotional coping, you know, emotional way of coping. Emotional will mean that, okay, maybe you feel that, oh, this pressure is going to be too much. Can I avoid it, or can I, you know, look for a way to push it?
Okay. I mean, I would have loved for this conversation to continue, but thank you so much, Dr. Olumide Okeowo, for such an insightful conversation. That's the much we can take for now, but I really hope that this conversation continues, because people really need to be aware of how damaging it is and what the effects are in our society, especially for the fact that this gender doesn't seem to be able to speak about it. But thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll go on a short break, and when we come back, it's time for Hot Topics, so stay with us.
Welcome back to Jasiri, and I hope you enjoyed that interview that we had with Dr. Olumide Okeowo on the state of men's mental health and what they can do to get better. But straight ahead, we're jumping into Hot Topic, and this one is a really hot topic. If we do not do justice to it today, trust me, tomorrow on Hot Topic is going to be no holds barred. The university attended by Chinwe Splendor, a guest on the podcast that has gone viral, has ordered her to return her certificate within 48 hours. This action was taken in response to her remarks about academic success and personal relationships, which the institution deemed inappropriate and contradictory to its values. She claimed to have rarely attended lectures, yet graduated with good grades, attributing her success to using her body to get what she wanted. Let's hear her.
Why should I return it? Huh? They sent me an email to return a certificate I worked so hard for. Okay. Open all like that, then I know so many of my course mates that will return their own. I know so many of my course mates.
Honestly.
Wait now, not everybody has the story.
No.
So just a quick bit of context. This is her response when the university sent her an email.
I wish we had a clip of...
We do, but it's just time. That's why it's coming back tomorrow. But she was on a podcast where she admitted to not always attending lectures, going into prostitution to pay for her school fees, sleeping with some of her lecturers to get good grades. That in one session, she didn't even attend class, but she came out with good grades and everything. Now she's questioning why the university wants her degree and certificate back.
Tolu, hold me.
Eh?
Hold me, because the way we have become so... You see, I keep
Shame
saying...
has left the group chat.
The culture of shame is gone. When I heard this thing yesterday, when our producer dropped it in the group, I was so overwhelmed with emotion.
I was livid.
Why? What is wrong with our people? You go to podcasts, is it not supposed to say things that you can stand by with your full chest? So if you went ahead and said that you slept your way through getting your degree, what is so surprising about the school asking you for that certificate?
I don't understand.
Okay, wait.
I don't.
Listen,
I don't understand.
We have 2.5 minutes.
Tomorrow.
No.
30 seconds.
How?
30 seconds.
If she wants to name the people that were involved, didn't you hear her say? That means Many of us will go and submit our
It's not her
certificates
business.
now.
Many of us go on the podcast.
They didn't go on the podcast.
Listen.
Catherine.
This is not new in the Nigerian climate. Guys, hello. When you say, oh, I was so living with emotion, I was thinking that, okay, you're going to say that, why is the school asking her to return the certificate? Is it because she came out to talk about it?
Why would you
Hold on, no, man.
You have
we
10
are
seconds,
so
10
double
seconds.
standard in the country. We are
Wait.
Blessings. Now would they go? Guys, that's all we have. That's the time. That's all the time, really.
I will tell you of this show because I will remove it to beat
No,
somebody.
serious.
You ladies,
This is double standard. There's nothing anybody will
there's so
tell
many
me.
things that happen behind
No,
the
because
scenes.
they should come out to
You
come.
cannot come outside and expose yourself and not
Guys,
be ready
we don't
for
say
the
that.
consequences.
We are going.
She obtained the certificate via fraud.
She is not. Listen, even if she
School fees
that
and
means
payment
that
of school
university
fees,
itself has to be
payment of
shut
school
down.
fees is not a guarantee that
on
you
the show.
graduate.
That's all we can take, guys. Catherine.